here we go. Right. Hi folks, been a while since I did anything Blender video-ish. This one isn't a tutorial as such, it's more of a workflow thing. File it under tips or hints or what have you. I'm not showing you how to make something specific, I'm gonna show you how to approach things in a different way. I was doing a video tutorial by Architecture Topics, and I just dove in and modelled the object before I actually watched the video and see how they approached it, which was considerably different to how I did it. And then when I saw what they did, I came up with a third way of doing it, and that got me to thinking of something really simple. I'll just get rid of the bevel on this object, and that is attacking something as simple as a picture frame. So you see them all the time in our ArchViz things, just a poster on the wall or what have you. So let's just start off with this, and we'll scale this on the X by 0.1 to start with, and just get it roughly where I want it, and then I'll scale it on the Z a bit. And all I've done there, by the way, I'll just now apply the scale, is I added in a cube, edit mode, GZ1, return, so it basically puts the cursor at the bottom of the box. Again, it's a sort of standard thing you're doing when you're building rooms in ArchViz. So we're going to start with this, and I'm just going to duplicate this a few times. Right, and then I'm going to actually add in a plane, scale that on the X 1.5 times, or Y 90, GZ. There's no real need for me to sort of do this, but I just prefer it. Right, and I'm going to move that along and duplicate it, Shift EY, Shift EY, repeat it a couple of times. No, Shift EY that another time. I don't know how many times I'm going to do this, but so here's all your starters, if you like, for doing your picture frames. And this is just all about how you can come at something from a different level. So I can go into edit mode, select my face, I can press I to insert rather, click, then E return, or I can just E and drag it out a bit. There's a basic picture frame. Or you can select it, E return, scale Y, scale Z, E return, G, X, same thing. Or you can select it, do I, go in, then I and hold control, go in, that. Or if for some reason you've started off with this, you can even Alt and click on that edge to select it, Alt E, extrude along normals, like that, Alt click that, extrude that out. That's another way of doing it. You're getting the idea now that really there's sort of multiple ways of approaching this, you know. So again, E, scale Z, scale Y, E, drag it back, and now say we want to add in a beveled edge, so we can select these edges like that, zoom in, I'm going to do Control B, and we can give it a nice chamfered edge. Or if we take this one, we can select these, go to here, create a vertex group, assign them, go to bevel, angle is vertex group, choose our group. Start off with say 3mm so we can see what we're playing, and I'll actually turn on my wireframe preview. I'm using HardOps, so you could just go up there and choose your wireframe from there. I'll go into orthographic so I can zoom in without worrying about the clipping, and then you can adjust that like that, and change up your segments and make it a round one. The difference with this one, of course, is that's now, if you like, hard coded into it, and unless you've got something like machine tools where you can unchamfer and unbevel, you're stuck. But with that, I can turn it from a nice rounded edge into a chamfer, and then if I wanted to, I can add another bevel, put that on angle, make it 1mm, and that will then apply that bevel to the other. So I can ramp up that and get a double bevel there without actually upsetting the geometry at all. So again, they're all ways of approaching it from a cube, and now let's just approach it from a plane. So you could extrude back, and then you're basically starting from doing a cube. Insert with a control, or you can select the face. You can do E to extrude, scale it, and E to extrude back, like that. So that's another way of doing it. And again, you do a similar thing there, just you can go the way I did with the other one, then select that, Alt E, extrude on faces to make the frame. The one thing I would say when you're doing a scale, if you're using E and extrude and scaling, obviously if you're in a sort of portrait thing there, you're not going to get equal, which is why a lot of people prefer to use inset, you know. And you can even start off the add a solidify like that, and then you can, that's like basically doing an insert. So then you're back to doing all the other things. So they're just all various methods of producing exactly the same result. Now there may be some times where one is preferred over the other, and in fact if I'm going to take this back face and I'm going to duplicate that and separate it. I'm going to apply the origin to the geometry and move that along, so that's our new one. Now if this, for example, is subdivided, or you've got additional geometry in it for some reason, you can also go up to select the boundary loop, then E to extrude on the X, and then press F, and that will give you your starting one. And then you're back to again doing it the old way. So as I say, countless ways really of producing exactly the same result. Sometimes you may find one is preferable over the other. Right, and just to finish off, I'll show you the item in question that sort of led to all of this in the first place. So I'm going to scale that Y to this, and this is basically scale Z, apply scale, the object that brought it all into question. And this is the way that Architecture Topics made it select that, extrude it down, 0.01, 0.1 rather. What have we done there? Try that again. EZ minus 0.1. Yeah, I've got that wrong. I'll just merge by distance because I knew I'd doubled up there. So let's scratch that, shall we? Let's start again. Not thinking straight. Hang on a minute. Here we go. GZ1. Right. We'll scale Y2. Go to the 3D cursor, scale on the Z. Apply a loop cut. Right. Now. Face mode. EZ. There. Right. EY. Like that. Oh, I'm super lazy. I have machine tools, so I can use Symmetrize with a simple Alt-X and a flick of a button. Or you can just go up to your mesh and Symmetrize. And just Symmetrize on the Y minus to Y plus. Be wary that you've made sure you've selected everything. That's the only downside to that. So mesh, Symmetrize, there we go. And then I'm going to delete that with Alt-X, and I'm going to add in 2 because we want 3 lines. Select these 2 faces, push them back, select those 2, insert E back, and select them, insert E back, GX. I have snap-on vertex as a matter of course. I use it an awful lot when I'm doing this sort of thing. And that was the way it was modelled. Another way of coming at it, the way I did it, which maybe wasn't as elegant. GZ1, scale Y2, scale Y a bit more actually. So I'm just going to move that up genuinely, like that, stick in. So right, and that is, I actually deleted that face, inserted and then bridge the loops, delete that face, and then join them like that. So insert E, insert E, Alt-X. As I say, machine tools make Symmetrizing an absolute breeze, so use that if you've got it. Scale them on the Z, make sure. Oh, I've got it set to cursor clearly at the moment instead of medium point. Right, I'll do the same there. Scale Z0. There we are. Then I do something very similar, just add in 2 loops. Control B. 3. I'm going to select these. And now what I've not done there, I've not extended that down. So that wouldn't be right. I would have to go to KC and just snap to them. There we go. Yeah. As you can see, my way, because I came at it wrong without thinking about it, I was just wheezing it. That took way longer. Another way, and the final way, GZ1, scale Y, is sort of similar to the initial way. About there. Yeah, that'll do. And that is right. Scale Shift X just to basically thin that out. Then so you see where I'm coming from with this one. It's a similar thing. And that's another way of doing it. And then all I'd do then is basically select them two. Now I could snap the cursor to selected, then do origin, but I've got snapping pies, so I can just do origin to selection. And that's another way of doing it. So again, that's the same sort of thing. You're coming at something from multiple ways of doing it. And also using symmetrize when you know you're doing something and you don't want to be worrying about getting things exactly the same. I mean, that said, I do cover this in another video, but if we just one last thing, scale Y3, right, let's say I take these two and I inset them, and then I extrude them back. But then I decide later on actually I want to do the same to others. You can use scripting for this. Always make sure you do this, and then here I copy that and I can paste it. And I go back to layout, I can select these two, go to scripting, execute it, we can see if we can get away with doing that as well. Paste that, select that, run it, select that, run it. Now that works in that situation because they're all in the same plane. However, if we delete that, we had a cube. So I can select that, run it, and that works. However, if I select that one, the extrude fails. And this is one reason I tend to use inset to do my donkey work, and I'll show you why. So like I can inset there, then inset and hold control and push it back, and that gives me those two. So I can copy them, paste them there, and then it doesn't matter where I am, then it will always work because it's using an inset. Whereas the thickness, the extrude is based on an axis, a transform axis. So that's one reason to use insert to do things like that. Inset, sorry, I keep saying insert, inset, because it does allow you more freedom. Now I actually have a little script and script actions, so I can run scripts from here regardless. So let's just scale that out. I'll process text block, process text block. And the beauty of that is if I want to, if I don't like that, I can make the thickness bigger. There we go. Where you do your Control Z matters, by the way. So 0.3. You see I've now got a thicker one. So that's always handy when you're duplicating things, and you can build yourself up a little library of these sort of things and to just save them, so you can add another text one, for example. And let's just go here, delete this, add another cube, and this time we'll do a much smaller, like that. We'll have it like that. So they're my last two. I can take those two, copy them, always needs that, paste them, and now so imagine that was a building and you wanted all your frames to be the same size. You've got all your frames the same size. Then you can save that, and that can become your little frame script for any building you make. So that's about it, guys. I say nothing earth-shattering, but it is good to know.